আমরাও যেদিক থেকে আসছি ওদিকে 0.4 মাইল। এই যে Adnan, তুই কি জুতা কিনবি? দুটো দড়ি দিয়ে 100 টাকা।
Stradivarius.
এদিকে আমাদের ভিডিও ও পাসওয়ার্ড বলে এই না কই এটা বলছো তো ধরতে তুই কেরি কই নিয়ে তুই ভাই ওয়াইফাই একটু পোস্ট পোস্ট বানাতে না আর ভিডিও করতে একটু নাচা নাচি কর ও বাহ এই লাইট গুলো কেমন হবে just figure out we will have to figure out the steps. Oh, yeah, I can minute হবে আর
just takes a car to break down or an accident, the whole lot's gridlocked. So just remember that if you're going for flights, just your rush hour, allow yourselves that wee extra half hour. Honestly, it makes all the, as you can see, makes all the difference. This is all coming into Belfast, that all has to go out later on. So it just takes an accident or something, that's a whole lot gridlock. For Gulliver's Travels. Jonathan Swift is originally from Ireland. Story has it that he was over in England at university studying. He sort of missed home. He had a picture or a postcard off Cave Hill and realised it looked like a giant's head, and then come up with a storyline for Gulliver's Travels. Boss is just going to blend everything. And I'm going to have one of these days, and I can just assure you, I can't slow down too far because we're on the motorway. There's a wee castle, you might see it there. That's Belfast Castle, just among the sea. After this building, you'll see it. See that bus just ruined it. You'll just see it in among all the trees there. See that wee castle there? That's Belfast Castle. And you'll see Belfast up in a wee minute. Hollywood. Right out the back of Hollywood, you have the Isle of Man, and then if you go the other way, you get all the Scottish islands in, so it makes good wet pictures. Just in case you want to go to Belfast Castle for a day out, you go on the Transline's website, it'll come up, starting point, destination. Starting point will be Belfast City Centre, destination, Belfast Castle. So you type that in, that'll tell you what bus you need. As I say, three bus companies, Ulster Bus, and you will find a lot of places, see in Northern Ireland, here in Ireland, when Knock in the name. Knock is an old Irish word for hill. So anything with Knock in it, there is going to be a hill involved. You've wee towns, Knocknagunny, Knocknacarry.
Cancel the other one. I thought, oh well, that's what we're going to have a look at.
Carrickfergus Castle.
Train station. So you'll just go down there. There you go. See a couple of good wee bars and restaurants up here as well, so you can make a whole day out of it. Over there with the floodlights on the left hand side, that's Carrickfergus football ground. That was US Rangers base. There's a wee war memorial garden and stuff. Say the castle, the French, and then about a mile out the road here, right hand side, I think it's Donaldson Avenue, is where Andrew Jackson's cottage. The village down here is called Whitehead. By the way, this is a picture you get in all your postcards. Have you ever? Don't know if anybody actually sends postcards anymore. It's usually take a picture, send, and that's it, done. If you are ever back again, right? See if you're back in the summer. Victorian Coastal Pass. Old smugglers' caves, lots of Irish history if you're into history as well. Lots of Irish history over there. And it is the only all year round nesting site in the British Isles for the puffins. So the puffins are there all year round. So basically, if you want to it, you'll get there, you'll meet your tour guide, he'll take you along these wee coastal paths. He'll tell you what Mass Graveyard is, and that's the oldest graveyard in Northern Ireland. That's another good day out, by the way, Ulster Museum. That's free entry. When you go in there, they have a big plastic ball that sits in the lobby, and all the ice walls out of Game of Thrones. Yep, that's the ice wall. So that there is Jon Snow's. This is all Jon Snow's land. That's why I don't like driving past it. Say, Macklemore and Quarries, that's the ice walls out of Game of Thrones. Now, when HBO came across here and found this place, they thought, happy days, there's the ice walls, let's paint it white. Brilliant idea, how to make ice walls. Unfortunately, somebody with a degree and no common sense thought it was a good idea to use biodegradable paint. Didn't read the weather forecast for Northern Ireland. Rains an awful lot. And then in the next field, you'll see more of them, and they're all overgrown. Nobody looks after them, nobody touches them. The reason nobody touches these trees, these are the furry trees. This is where the furries and the leprechauns come at night. They meet up in there, and that's where they'll have a wee kiss and a cuddle. Superstition has it, if you damage that tree, the reason the National Trust take a lot to do around here. So when you buy a house, this is already written into your mortgage and your deeds. This is all you're allowed to do. Really, really strict building controls. You just can't come up here, buy a plot of land and build on it. There has to be something there. Has to be something. Seeing a hay shed, a stable or a barn. See us here on the left, see how many derelict buildings there? That's worth an absolute fortune. We used to be here today. We'd still be back in the dark old days. Nobody came to Northern Ireland. The British Army used crews, that was it. We didn't have a tour industry. The amount of stuff that's been filmed here nowadays is unbelievable. We didn't even have a film studio. We have 10 film studios now. Never had a cruise ship in Northern Ireland in our lives, with 3 cruise ship docks. Last year there were 74 cruise ships in, this year there's 90 in, right up to the end of November. So as I said, now we're in the top 30 places in the world to come and visit. All because of them 3 men. Say they just don't get enough recognition for what they've done. Everybody thinks it was our politicians, yes. They hammered out the deal at the end, same thing has a nickname. Glenarm is known as the Glen of the Armies. This is supposedly where all the old Irish clans would have met up, went down, attacked Ballydelly Castle, Carrickfergus Castle, any other castle up around this area. Now the clans were never strong enough. They were never going to do any damage. So they used to go down and attack a castle anyway. The army would have chased them, the Irish would have run away, straight into Glenarm, since it was the first Glen they got back to. Straight into Glenarm, army followed them in, the rest of the Irish were waiting on them. Fish and chips, by the way, now, I can't stand fish. But any days we're out, my mates, friends, don't be worrying. It's been in the, I've done a wee bit of research, it's been in the Belfast from the 30s, it's a family-run business. And honestly, my mates, any days we're out, that's where they go. They say it's the best fish and chips in Northern Ireland. Can't fed, don't do fish. But if you fancy, you can try that tonight. Now, unfortunately, it does shut at 6:30. You might get it tonight if no illegal move here, folks. See whatever I do, Dave, you've hired a car, right? Don't be doing it, because you're going to get a ticket. I'm just chancing my arm here at the minute. But I want to show you something here. I think this is a nice wee photo stop. I'm just going to pull in for a couple of seconds, well, probably about 20 seconds. You see, this here's Glenarm Castle. I just think that's a nice wee photo. Now this is all just the outer walls of it, of course. And the castle's away down in the centre there, and there's loads and loads of history. Lovely gardens, trails, walkways, all that sort of stuff. Lots of stuff has been filmed in there. The death of Robin Hood, some of that was done in there. That's the other stuff. Talking on them. I'm just chancing my arm here a wee bit. As I say, just trying my best. Now, if you ever wanted to get into that castle for a visit, you certainly can. The only reason that one needs I said earlier, whatever goes out is back into the city. Doesn't matter. See, as long as you get yourself back to like a major village or a major town, there'll always be a busking in the Belfast city centre. Like, see if you went to Glenarm there, it doesn't even matter what way you go here. You can go back down the lawn, you'll get a bus into the city. You can go on up the coast, Ballycastle, Portrush, Portstewart, Bushmills, you'll get a bus into the city. So don't be afraid. All the facilities, the only thing they don't let you do, outside food in the bar or restaurant, that's it. The new word for that's cross-contamination. If it's not done in their kitchen, you can't bring it in their establishment. That's basically it. But just if you're getting sarnies, please get them here. Now, a couple of wee things about Carnlough. Now, that scene was 22 seconds long. That was it, 22 seconds. It took him a week and a half to film that 22-second scene. If you are a Game of Thrones fan, I highly recommend, do not be trying to reenact it. That water's freezing. Our average water temperature here on the hottest day of the summer. Now, last year we had days hotter than Spain and Portugal. Or this year, our average water temperature is about 12 degrees. So it is very cold. So you've
But our ando 2 minutos muy alcanzado. এই জায়গাটার সাথে হুডি পরন দেখো না, হুডিটা মোটা বেশি।
এটা হাতে নিস।
তোর আর ছবি ওঠানোর আসলে রোগ আছে, বুঝছিস নি? এছাড়া তো রোগ, কাপড় চেঞ্জ করে করে ছবি ওঠানি ফুটানি।
Still the Sunderland, a couple of other ones, they were all built in short trolleys. They were classed as submarine hunters. And in short is where they done the first vertical takeoff in an aircraft. Now, not a helicopter, an aircraft. Shorts invented the technology to get an aeroplane to lift vertical. Now, they sold the rights, I think, about that technology. So we are a ferry engineer, we country and city. Now, there's one thing that us and the Scottish people have an argument. See in blue circle plaques, have a wee read at them, honestly. It was a crazy amount of stuff that was done here. Think, like a ferry get a car bunch, invented them. Now, see over here on the left, behind that wee house, this is Glenarif, this is where Glenarif starts, this is one of the glens. This is the largest one of the glens, this is known as the Queen of the Glens. So it starts here on the left, runs all the way down there to the left, does a U-turn, pops back up here in front of us. And this is the one you can see when I was talking about earlier on. But see, if you're in this sort of stuff, there's a lovely big country park up in it. I mean, a really good country park. And it's one of them places you can have whatever sort of day you want. No, if you want to go in, you can camp in it. During the ice age, this was all frozen, of course. So when the ice started melting, this was all loose rock and loose soil in the middle. So when the ice melted, it sucked all that out to sea. And what you're left with is all the good rock, and that's how glens were created. And that's the difference between a glen and a valley. The valley was a river, the glen was an ice age. As I say, you can drive right up through a sand. Honestly, if you ever get a chance, go and do it. The first part of this town is called Waterfoot. These are more modern houses. Got that name because of the waterfalls, the foot of the water. And in Glenarif village here, they reckon there's been somebody in here from about the 9th century, 10th century. Oh, here's, I nearly, and it didn't matter if you were Catholic or Protestant, you were classed as Irish, so you couldn't be taught, couldn't preach religion, couldn't speak the Irish language. That's why the Irish language died away. It was always banned, always. Now, I can't speak Irish, by the way, but at nights, sitting around campfires, us with their Irish music, them is with their banjos, doing a wee bit of jamming. It eventually turned into bluegrass music, and then eventually into country and western music. So you can trace the roots all the way back. Johnny Cash, he even wrote that song, 40 Shades of Green. That's about Ireland. He was over down there where it says Guinness on your glass. You set it down, you let it settle, and then you sip it after that. That is called splitting the G. That's what you call that, splitting the G. So top the glass, down there where it says Guinness on your glass. I done that. Say, Granda, still discussing, so away went to the bar, and then he comes back from the bar with a wee bottle of blackcurrant juice, and added a wee bit of blackcurrant juice, Guinness and blackcurrant, and that's how I learned how to drink Guinness. 3 weeks, and that's done about every 3 months. The reason, see all the wee yellow flowers and all that, bumblebees love it, so we're trying to preserve the bumblebees habitat, because they're starting to die off, and we need the bumblebees. And then, you'll see purple flowers up around here as well, that's heather, that is also protected. And all of our soil up here, it's all peat and turf. And peat and turf we would have burnt up 5 years ago. So you've all the hot air coming across from America, cooling down all the way across. You've all that hot air coming from Europe, cooling down all the way across. Them two run into each other right above us here. Then see about our 2-3 o'clock position there, it's Iceland and Greenland. So the remainder of that hot air gets hit with all that cold air, and that is why we have an awful lot of rain in this summer. Say, just where we sit, right in the middle of the band sat up there, Finny. Now, I'm going to tell you here in 2 minutes what bottle we are getting for the Giant's Causeway, because I know where I'm looking. Tell you in a wee minute here, let's see. So, if you are in the golf, look, I'm not saying don't play the big ones, don't, because everybody wants to, but don't be put off by by price. Say some of the wee courses are better than the big ones. And say
Abi,
কই মানুষ থাকতেছে
ওই ব্রিজটায় যাওয়ার অবস্থা হচ্ছে। ভুলভাল মানুষ কিনে যাচ্ছে।
মানুষ আমার মনে হচ্ছে আমরা মাছটা নিবো না ঘুরে ঘুরে
Yeah.
so this is all the Iron Islands up here. See, look, they're just digging more holes, just like digging. Just give them a pocket and a spade and let them go to the beach. Typical man. He ran back to his wife, says to his wife, I'm in trouble here. Ben O'Donnell is a lot bigger on me. He's going to beat me in this fight. Have you any ideas what I could do? Come on. Back again. So I'll get this about 3 o'clock. Now, I will always bring the bus back early, alright? I'll be here from about 20 to 3, but don't worry about 3 o'clock. I always like you say there's always a method now, man, is I love getting to the top of the hill so we're not trying to squeeze past people. So I'll be here from about south of Ireland. This is Northern Ireland. Now, when you're on the Giant's Causeway, you're on the most northerly part of Northern Ireland. County Donegal is the most northerly part of the south of Ireland. So we have two norths in this country. North is north, north is south. Right? Our most northerly part in the whole of Ireland is County Donegal. So technically our most northerly part is in the south. If that made any sense to you whatsoever. So I'm
Yes, sir.
The only thing is the bus lane. I
you drive them in.
Don't hit my first.
पिक्चर कर रहा है लगा नहीं जाता একাই শেষ করে বসে
No, that's fine.
No, we can
People were climbing up over the fence at night, stealing stuff, you know, the old fancy tiles and brickworks and all this sort of carry on. So they came to the decision. So folks, as I said, if you want to jump off, far ahead, jump off, grab a few pictures and jump back on again. If you have no interest, stay in the bus.
কি মনে আছে আপনার থিয়ন গ্রেজওয়ের ক্যাসেল লাগে দেখতে ডল করে ফেলছিল এরপরে দেশেরা থিয়ন গ্রেজওয়ের ক্যাসেল থেকে ড্রাগনের ইকুইরা মারছিল গুলি করে মারছিল তখন হেরা জানেন ড্রাগন মারার জন্য অস্ত্র বানাচ্ছে
When they realised they were going to get defeated in round England, they didn't want to sail up round Scotland or try to get round England back into Europe that way. The plan was out round this way, down the way. So do not be afraid to shoot out and crack me. As I said, I do not get offended, so don't be worried about that. But he owned Tequila. Is it Jose at Cuervo? Was that the way you pronounce it? He now owns Bush Mills. Diageo now owns Tequila. The new owner spent a couple of million on the place. He's up to production. When we had it, we could do about 100,000 litres a year free capacity. He's up to about 300,000 litres a year now he can produce. Now, we were only allowed... Yep, just right there, come right down the hill that we shot. If you haven't seen that TV show, the Game of Thrones, or sorry, the Dark Ages, if you've seen a brochure for Northern Ireland, is where all the spooky looking trees are. You know all the trees are interlocked with each other? That is the Dark Ages. Now, the only reason these trees were planted, £35 for printing out, but they don't charge you anything for checking it. So if you want to go and do that, you can go and do that, it's up to yourselves. And then once we leave here, a couple of wee country roads, out onto the old carriageway, straight down into Belfast. And you are all going to be happy to know, muck down in the ground, that's just natural fertiliser. That's a good shade for heavy rain because the farmers flood the ground with that, so when it rains it soaks it into the ground. But hopefully it'll be tomorrow before it rains. Not Thursday, I'm off on Thursday and Friday, so I need a good day in. Because my wife's away and I don't have to do anything.
এই জায়গাটা কোন জায়গা? এই জায়গাটা
আগে এখানে রোড ছিল।
না না না, এই জায়গাটা কোন হওয়া যায় না মনে হচ্ছে, কিন্তু মনে হচ্ছে যে দেখছি আমরা দেখছি মনে হচ্ছে।
Next stop, Upper Whitewell.
কাছলে যাবো না, কাছলে যাবি কি সমস্যা রে ভাই? কাছলে দেখ কত সুন্দর একটা জায়গা।
এখন ওরা ফেসিলিটি দিয়ে আবার মেশিন
গাড়ি আছে রে, বুঝলাম না।
দাঁড়া, এক মিনিট দাঁড়া।
বাসে আসবো পরে।
Is it the shortcut from here?
Yes, probably short run.
Yeah, we'll try it.
এই এদিকে
Thank you,
চল,
sir.
এদিকে এসছি।
Enjoy.
এদিকে চল, আসলে পরে বাসে আসবো। এখানে দেখা যাচ্ছে অনেক স্লো, অনেক স্পিডে যাচ্ছে। এই যে উঠে
তোর বিলার জুতা বালা জুতা ঠিক করছো না এটা দেখ ক্লিক করবো কিন্তু খেয়ালে পাড়া দি
না। রেস্কিউ টিম আনন্দ ছাড়া উড়াতে পারবি না।
আমার তো ভিডিও করতেছে হ্যাবলা তার ডর তার বিচি খাম দিতেছে গা তোর বিচি খাম না এই যে কত অ্যাচিভমেন্ট
নাম এদিকে না।
না তেনো জানো না তুই সেই মিল জায়গা দেখা দাঁড়া আমি তো সব উড়া তুই এখানে গিয়ে যা
জানতাম এটা। এখানে হচ্ছে, এটা হচ্ছে কেভ হিল কেভ। এখানে ব্যাগ রাখলাম। আমি তো ট্রাই করবো। দুইটার পর, ভিডিও টুইটার পর আমি উঠবো। টিকিট হচ্ছে 13 টাকা দিবেন
হ্যাঁ
এন্ট্রি টিকিট 1300 13 না 14 পাউন্ড
বুঝতে এলি ক্যাম্পের ভিতরে সাউন্ড যে ফোন না
হ্যাঁ টাকা আমাদের রোড ক্লোজ টাকা লিবিয়া হয়ে ইতালিতে এ জাস্ট ভিডিওর উপরে আছে এখানে রাস্তা পাচ্ছি না বের হওয়ার
দাঁড়া আগে আমি আমার ব্লগ বানাই
না
ব্লগ ফর জুই আগে আনছি
ভিতরে যাবে
বলতেছে যেগুলো কমন গাছ এগুলো এখানে আছে গিয়া নিদর্শন।
হ্যাঁ কত বড় ক্যাকটাস দেখছস?
সুন্দর না জিনিসটা?
Yep.
এই গাছটা সবচেয়ে বেশি এক্সোটিক লাগতেছে আমার কাছে। দেখতে তো সেগুন না, সেগুলো আছে 100% সেগুন গাছ। আমাদের অনেক সেগুন গাছ আছে, আমি এগুলো কিনতে পারি।
哦，是阳光小子。
এটা কি টাকা? ইজি একটা জিনিস। তো তার মানে কোন তুই এটা?
What?
এটা ইজি একটা জিনিস।
Cactus.
কোনটা? এটা? এটা হলো ক্যাকটাস। ক্যাকটাস হচ্ছে দুই।
14 রিদান
ক্যাকটাস রিদান যদি বেশি পাটাপাটি করে ক্যাকটাস রিদান গান্ডে দিয়ে দিচ্ছি
এগুলো মজা হয় বলুন না
রিদান হেসে
একদম স্যাটিসফাইং কিছু একটা রকম একদম প্রপার feels so good proper
রিদান হলো দা দা
Felicia Roser
সাইডটা লেখলেও গল্প কি এটা দাম দিয়ে আইডিয়া
টিমার
তখন আমি কি করছি জানো আগের দিন পরে ওই স্টোরি যেগুলো আছে এগুলো কিন্তু এই স্টোরিটা দিনটা করে দেবো আমি ওই
যাচ্ছে মনে হয়
শর্ত
ফুল আয় চিপ তারপর এখন একটা বয়ফ্রেন্ড আছে কিসের নাম আছে
এদের জন্য এগুলো নর্মাল রে ভাই ভাই আমার বয়সে 4টা 5টা বয়ফ্রেন্ড গার্লফ্রেন্ড চেঞ্জ করে
Yes. It's called for Harris Bush Graveyard, and it was here long before Belfast. Oh, right, and it was, there's still an area and there were plague victims buried in it. You're not original here. It's restricted. But you could go around the rest and they do tours and everything. But you can read about it there. One of the headstones goes back to 485. Honestly. But people always say, why was the graveyard put in the middle of Belfast?
Because Belfast wasn't here. I developed Belfast right.
Alright, they really did. Then there's one thing before you come in, and I'm running in the forest family, you know, and I says to him, well, you're right. He says, we could get parked anywhere today. I says, that's terrible. He says, my daddy says I should dig up all them people in that graveyard. Put them into the bin, the brown bin.
কেনা নিব মই
এটাই তোর কাছে রেজিস্ট্রি